Hello folks and welcome to another Necromunda battle report. The burning brand of the Cawdor Redemptionists are back, but this time they're up against the Steel Pit Stompers of House Goliath. As always, if you like the content, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Now, let's check out the games. And here we have the Steel Pit Stompers, led by Forge Tyrant Volstar Bullfist the Beast. He's armed with a grenade launcher, a chain axe and a furnace plate. He's got the Unstoppable skill, Natural Born with Tyrant's Own and Iron Flesh for a +1 strength, toughness and wound. And then Brutal Caustic, he's got a Renderizer, a furnace plate and the Nerves of Steel skill. Now Butcher Berg, he's got a stub cannon and a furnace plate. The Juve Crut Junk Boy, he's got a stub gun and a spudjacker. And finally, Kneecaps Bootak. He's a Forgeborn, he's got a stub gun, a fighting knife and a furnace plate. And off to the side here, in recovery, we have Muscles Bodan, Bad News Drugos and Rork the Wrecker, who will not be participating in this fight. And their opponents today, the Cawdor Redemptionists, the Burning Brand. Led by the maniacal Balthazar, he's got a chain axe, an exterminator, an auto pistol, the Book of Redemption, and he knows the Rain of Blows skill. Then we have Deacon Torment. He's armed with an eviscerator and mesh armor with a blazing faith skill. Here we have Brethren Horst. He's got a grenade launcher and flak armor. Brethren Jonas, auto gun and executioner and flak armor. And finally, a couple of bone pickers, both armed with an axe and a stub gun. Here we have Drudge Dirk II and his partner in crime, Burke. And off to the side here, in recovery, we have Deacon Matthias, Brethren Elias, and of course, Drudge Kirk. Now let's check out the mission. We're playing the Gunk Tank scenario from the Book of the Outcast. The scenario uses standard rules for deployment, and both players use random selection 7 method to choose their crew. In the center of the battlefield, we've placed a Gunk Tank, or in this case, a Gunk Pool, and this is identified by the green pool detailed on the tiles. Each gang is trying to siphon off as much precious gunk as they can while stopping their opponent from doing the same. A fighter at the edge of the gunk pool can make a siphon double action. Then we'll place a gunk token next to the fighter to indicate that they're now lugging gunk. Each fighter who escapes the battlefield with a gunk token earns 1 experience points for their troubles, and that gang gains a d6 times 10 credits to add to their stash. The gang that escaped with the most gunk at the end of the battle is the winner, otherwise the battle is a draw. The Redemptionists do have a clear advantage in maneuverability, with the Goliaths being slow and lumbering. However, they do make up for it with toughness and resilience. Deployment for the Burning Brand. In the centre here, we have Deacon Torment and Brethren Jonas. And then taking an advantageous high ground position, we have Brethren Horst. On this flank, we have Balthazar the Great, along with the Drudge Squad, Dirk II and Burke. And across the board, beyond the gunk pool, we have the Steel Pit Stompers, all of them grouped up on the right hand flank, with Volstar Bullfist being the closest, next to him, the 2 young ones, and on the flank, Butcher Berg and Brutal Caustic. Now let's see how this battle pans out and get to the first priority roll for turn 1. And priority goes to the Steel Pit Stompers. First activation for the game is going to be Crut Junk Boy. He moves up behind this door and then opens it up, clearing the way for the beast himself. Now first for the Burning Brand, it is going to be Balthazar and the Drudge Squad, Dirk II and Burke. And all 3 of them, robes rippling in the wind, run up to the edge of the gunk pool. Balthazar cackling as he comes. Get your bucket, boys. Kneecaps Bootak's up now, and he can use both of his actions to move through this doorway and then up behind this barricade. He's got to get close to that gunk. Deacon Torment and Brethren Jonas are going to make a group activation. Jonas is up first, he moves to the door and then opens it, clearing the way for Deacon Torment to run up behind these crates, getting in nice position to make use of that executioner. Now back over to the big boys. This time it's Brutal Caustic. Now without any close range options, he's just got to run. So he moves twice up behind this cover, staying out of line of sight. And last but definitely not least is Brethren Horst. And he's going to climb up on top of this wall, then loading a frag grenade into his grenade launcher. He takes aim just in front of that barricade. Now there's no modifier, so it will be hitting on a 4+. And that shot is right on the money, hitting its mark. Now Butak's got a 4 toughness, so it's 5 to wound. Oh, and that does it. 5+ save, but that fails. Now let's see what the injury dice has to say. And it's just a flesh wound. But of course, Kneecap's Butak will go down pinned. We did forget to roll knockback there, but it wouldn't really matter. Now it's Butcher Berg's turn, and he's going to be a little bit cunning, at least for a Goliath, and skirts down this alleyway out to the side, looking to clean up some Redemptionists as they run away with their gunk. And finally, the Beast, the best for last. But he doesn't have any good options this turn, so he just runs up next to his friend, Brutal Caustic. Now to wrap up the turn, we just have the Faith roll for the Redemptionists. 6 dice, and that'll give him 3 Faith points to use later in the battle. Now back to the gunk pool for priority roll for turn 2. Ooh, and that's close, but the Burning Brand just win. So it's another group activation, Balthazar and the Drudge Squad. And all 3 of them with buckets or barrels in hand siphon that sweet gunk. And we're just going to mark that they've got gunk with these little black stars. Now over to Steel Pit Stompers. Kneecap's Botak picks himself up off the ground, folds the barricade and heads to the edge of the gunk pool, looking to siphon some of that off if he doesn't get put down. Brethren Jonas, noticing a foolish Goliath skulking up to the gunk pool's edge, moves up behind these crates and then takes a shot at Butak with his auto. So he's just out of short range there, so hitting on a 4+. That'll do it, but it is an ammo roll. And he failed that, it's a little bit too trigger happy. Now Butak has a flesh wound, so he's wounding on 4s. And that fails, but Butak's gonna go down pinned, which means no gunk for him next turn. Now it's over to Butcher Berg, and he's gonna commit further sneaky actions. And he tiptoes along the wall and lurks just out of line of sight. Unfortunately, nobody's coming to range of Deacon Tormund's Eviscerator, so he decides to hop over these crates and move up to the edge of the gunk pool, taking advantage of these barrels for a little bit of cover. Back to the Steel Pit Stompers. Junk Boy's up, and he's under orders from the Beast to get that gunk. So he sprints up around the corner as far as he can, just making it to here, just past this barricade. Well, it seems like Brethren Horst was waiting for just that to happen. The stupid Goliath have run into his little trap. He loads another frag grenade, and this time he's going to try and put it right between Junk Boy and Kneecap's Butak. So same as last time, he's looking for a 4+ to hit, but that 2 there, it'll fail. Now it does scatter just a little bit to the right there, so it is going to still hit Junk Boy. Firstly, we're going to roll for knockback. And that 3 is not good enough, so he stays put. Now looking for a 5 to wound because of Goliath Brawn. Ooh, and shreds him with that 6. 5 up armor save, which fails. But it's just another flesh wound. These Goliaths are proven to be pretty nuggety. The blast does of course floor Junk Boy, goes down pinned. Now, the Beast. Finally, he's got a good opportunity. Moves around the corner to here, and then loading a crack grenade into his grenade launcher, levels it right at Brethren Horst's chest. Now, no modifiers, so he is hitting on a 3. And that'll nail him with a 5, but it is an ammo roll. Click, he is now out of crack grenades, but wounding on a 2+. That 3 will do it. Horst is in some trouble. So no save after modifiers, and that's 2 wounds for the crack grenade. He's gone down seriously injured and taken a flesh wound. Now let's see if he topples off his perch. Ooh, and that fails. And for the sake of fun, we're going to have him fall off the front, all the way down to the ground. And the fall does wound him. He fails his save. But it's just another serious injury, so no further effect. Back to the big boys with Brutal Caustic. Letting out a roar of frustration and rage, he stomps up behind this bin, twirling and revving his axe, ready to make some mincemeat of those Redemptionists as soon as humanly possible. And that wraps up the turn. So, Faith for the Redemptionists, this time a measly 1 for a total of 4 points. Now, recovery for Brethren Horst. He is close enough to one of his friends for an assist, so 2 dice and pick the best. That flesh wound result, which means he's getting up. Priority roll for turn 3. Ooh, Burning Brand again. Sensing there could be a frag grenade in their very immediate future, Balthazar orders a quick tactical retreat, and with knees high in the air, bound towards the table edge, with their precious siphoned gunk. With Kneecap's Butak in the most immediate danger, he's up first for the Steel Pit Stompers. He hauls himself up off the deck, and then aims his stub gun across at Deacon Torment. Short range and cover do cancel each other out, so he's looking for a 5+ to hit. Oh, and that is a close one, but it does miss. Now, Redemptionist never passes up the opportunity to cleanse a heretic in flame. Jonas moves up to the edge of the gunk pool and then lets it rip with his executioner. And the beautiful flames of cleansing fire do engulf Crut Junk Boy and Kneecap's Butak. The red dice is Kneecap's Butak. Because they're flesh wounds, it's wounding on a 4. And they're both going to take it. Now blaze check for the lads, and Crut Junk Boy set on fire. Now armor saves, and Crut Junk Boy does succeed with his furnace plate. And Kneecap's Butak goes down with seriously injured. Back to the Goliath with a group activation. It's going to be Volstar Bullfist the Beast along with Brutal Caustic. Let's start with the Beast. He lumbers up to the edge of the gunk pool and then tries to put a frag grenade right between Jonas and Torment. Now, he should actually be hitting on 4s here because it's a -1 for close range. But we missed it, so we're counting that as a hit. First knockback check. In black dice indicates that Jonas is getting knocked back to here. Now wounding on 4s, we're going to roll them both at the same time. And the yellow dice has succeeded there, which was allocated to Torment. And he fails his armor save with that 4, and will lose one of his 2 wounds. And then Jonas and Torment will both go down pinned. Now back over the second half of the group activation with Brutal Caustic. And unfortunately, all of the pudgy Redemptionists are still out of his reach. So he just runs up to the edge of the gunk pool, bellowing with frustration. Now back to the Burning Brand with Torment. He swivels around and then engulfs the huge hulking form of Brutal Caustic in Purifying Flame. Now ammo check and wound roll incoming. Still got gas in the tank and that does wound. And a blaze check which is successful, so Brutal Caustic's now on fire. He's got a 5+ armor save from his furnace plate. Unfortunately that fails, so he does lose one of his 2 wounds. Now he does have the Nerves of Steel check which he did succeed, we rolled off camera, so he doesn't go down pinned. Alrighty, it's Crut Junk Boy. Now unfortunately he's on fire, so let's check first to see if the fire wounds him. He's got a flesh wound, so that 4 does wound, and he fails his save. Ooh, and that skull takes him out of action, burnt to a crisp. Over to Horst, who peels himself off the Underhive floor and then blasts a crack grenade across at Kneecap's Butak. Now he's hitting on a 4+, and that 5 will do it. Now to wound, and that does succeed. And the armor modifiers prevent Butak from getting any saves. And unfortunately we did forget here that the crack grenade does 2 wounds, so he just rolled in 1 injury dice, which was a 2nd flesh wound, and that keeps him down pinned. And last to activate for the turn is Butcher Berg, and he's going to continue on with his stealthy tactics. He moves around the corners to get a clear firing lane on Dirk II, and then takes a blast at him with his stub cannon. Hitting on a 4+, ooh, and that does it. But it is an ammo roll. However, that 4 succeeds. Now it's wounding on a 3 because it's strength 5, and that'll do it. Now the stub cannon also has knockback, which will knock Dirk II back into Balthazar. So this is going to add +1 to the damage. Now 2 injury dice and really looking for a skull. But just going to have to settle for a flesh wound and a seriously injured. Now because he's gone down seriously injured, he does drop his gunk. We're just going to represent it by this barrel token right here. Now I've got to make a couple of panic tests. Now of course this doesn't have any effect on Balthazar, but his good mate Burke has become shaken. In the end phase we have to check see if the Goliaths are bottling, and they are bottling. And a rally check for Burke, which fails. Redemptionists generate a further 2 faith points, a total of 6 now. Now first thing to do for the next turn is to check to see if 4-star Bullfist can keep everybody around, and that easily does it, so Goliath's still in the fight. Now initiative, Burning Brand win again. First up it's going to be Torment, and he's going to charge Brutal Caustic. He easily makes the distance. Now he is going to use 3 faith dice to try and give Blaze to his executioner, and that succeeds. Now he's got 3 attacks and he's hitting on a 4+. Ooh, unfortunately, it's only 1 hit. Now that 6 does wound him, but Brutal Caustic succeeded his save. Now checking for Blaze, and he's on fire for the 2nd time. Unfortunately for Torment, Brutal Caustic's going to get to hit him back. Now he's got 2 attacks with his Renderizer, and he's hitting on 3s. Both of them hit. And they both wound as well, and 2 wounds each, so this is going to be 4 injury rolls because he's already down a wound. 4 seriously injured results, which means he just goes down seriously injured as there's no free coup de grace as Brutal Caustic didn't charge. Now we have a panic test for Brethren Horst, and he easily succeeds. Now Kneecap's Botak is somehow still in this battle. He is pinned though. First action he gets up, still standing at the edge of this gunk pool, and then fires his stub gun at close range at Brethren Jonas. But the shot goes wide. Now it's Horst again, and he still got that grenade launcher, and he's got a nice lane of fire on Butcher Berg. So he takes a shot with a crack grenade, but misses by a mile with that too. Then with his second action, he runs around the corner towards the safety of the board edge, following the maniacal cackles of Balthazar the Brave. Alright, so Butcher Berg now, resisting the urge to take another shot at one of the many redemptionists standing out in the open, he decides to instead do the intelligent thing and runs to the edge of the gunk pool. So Jonas, who is actually out of ammo, he's got nothing left, he just stands up and then tries to reload his autogun, looking for a 4+. He managed to find some more ammunition. Now it's over to the beast, the big boy, but this time he's just going to do something boring and siphon off some gunk. Oh yeah, that's sweet gunk. Now back to the burning brand with Balthazar and the Drudge Squad. Balthazar, with a bucket brimming with gunk clutched in his steely grip, flees off the battlefield calling for his disciples to follow him. And that'll secure a 1 point for the Redemptionists and a sweet load of credits. Now Berg's broken, so he runs around this corner behind the cover and just cowers there whimpering. And then Dirk II, who just crawls behind this pipe trying to get out of line fire. Butcher Berg's up, but the blaze trait is going to prevent him from performing a coup de grace. Now the fire doesn't wound him, and let's see where he runs. And that'll take him all the way along the edge of the gunk pool to round about here. He will choose to go prone and pinned, see if he can put this fire out. And he pats himself out. And that wraps the turn to another faith roll. This time, nothing. Bottle test for Redemptionists and a 5 would have done it, so they're still in the fight. Recovery for Horst first. Ooh, and that renderizer took its toll. Goes out of action. And Dirk II, who's still down seriously injured. I'm just going to do the cool check for the beast now. 5 just succeeds. So he's staying around. So this battle has really been a bit of a scramble for both sides. Redemptionists have the most gunk right now. Steel Pit Stompers' toughness has really helped them out and kept them in this fight. And they're finally starting to wrestle a little bit of control. Now let's get to the very important priority roll. The Burning Brand win again. Firstly, we got to check to see if Burke rallies. Ooh, and he does, and he's still got his gunk. And the Burning Brand are going to go with Brethren Horst first. And in the interest of not getting his face stomped in by angry Goliaths, he uses his turn to move towards the Redemptionist table edge, stopping right next to this gunk token. And first for the Steel Pit Stompers, it's going to be Kneecap's Butak. And finally, after many turns, he's able to extract some gunk. And Jonas finally reloaded his autogun, decides to take a close range shot at Brutal Caustic. +1 to hit, so he's hitting on a 3. Unfortunately, that 2 fails. All the bullets spray wide. And his second action is just gonna retreat back to here behind these containers, keeping a nice amount of distance between him and the angry Goliaths. And Brutal Caustic now, fortunately, is pinned, so he can't charge. He's gonna skirt around the shore of the gunk pool just to here, so he can extract some next turn. Now over to Burke. Although his good mate Dirk II is lying in a pool of his own blood, he decides to get into Balthazar's good books and runs off the table, securing the Redemptionists with another gunk. Now Butcher Berg, having got himself into position last turn, is going to siphon some gunk. No more Redemptionists to activate, so we're going to stay with the Goliath. And it's going to be the Beast next. You probably should just move twice to try and get that gunk close to the table edge, but he can't resist having a parting shot. And it's a juicy one at that. If it hits, it's going to hit both Horst and Dirk II. Unfortunately, that one misses, and it scatters back, missing everybody. Actually, we did forget Dirk II, and he's just going to crawl right to here. And that wraps up the turn, so the Goliaths really have taken control of the battlefield now. If they can just stay in the battle for another few turns, they will probably be able to secure themselves a victory. Because the Redemptionist numbers are dwindling, they need to make a bottle test. That 5 means they're bottling. Now let's see if the members of the Burning Brand can hold their nerve. Start with Jonas first. He's had enough, he packs it in. Now over to Horst. He's so close to safety, and decides that it's not worth it. He takes off too. How about Dirk II? When he's staying around. And we did forget to roll recovery for Dirk II, and he also would have got an assist. So 2 dice, and he gets up with a flesh wound. Now for the Steel Pit Stompers. Let's start with the Beast. Oh, and he fails. Unprecedented. Decides to pack it in, leaving his gunk behind. Because the Beast failed, we've got to make a check for Butcher Berg. But he succeeds. Kneecaps Butak, who also succeeds. And in fact, that roll would have been for Brutal Caustic, so they both hang around. Initiative roll. This time it goes to the Steel Pit Stompers because the Burning Brand had it every other time. Brutal Caustic's up first, and it's simply just going to siphon off some gunk. Now the Burning Brand only have one model left, and that is Dirk II. He gets up and then takes cover behind this pipe. Kneecaps Butak is up. Finally, he's got some gunk, and he's just going to leg it. Spends both of his action to move all the way down to here. Butcher Berg, however, he's got other thoughts. He's not going to have enough time to get off the battlefield with the gunk, so he's just going to try and take down Dirk II and deny a third gunk for the Burning Brand. Now it's a pretty tricky shot, -2 for cover, so looking for a 6. Misses convincingly with that too. All the shells just ring off the pipe. And that does it for the turn, nothing in the end phase, so straight to initiative. And the Steel Pit Stompers win again. Now let's check to see if the fighters hang around. Butcher Berg, he's fine. Brutal Caustic's good as well. But Kneecaps Butak's so close to his objective, decides to pack it in and runs off the battlefield. And now Dirk II is still hanging around. What a brave little boy. Butcher Berg's up first, and we're going to try and deny that last point for Redemptionists. Can he make the impossible shot? Oh, but he fails again. And then of course, it's Dirk II, and grabs that gunk and gets off the battlefield. So 3 gunk for the Redemptionists. Unfortunately, the Steel Pit Stompers didn't manage to get any off the battlefield. However, because they're the last gang remaining on the table, they do get a D3 gunk tokens. And they managed 3 in the roll, so the battle ends in a draw. That was a super fun battle. And in the end, the Burning Brand's superior maneuverability gave them the advantage overall. Goliath just didn't have enough time to get that gunk off the battlefield. Now let's head to the post game for some income and some injuries. Alright, Tormund's up first, and that's a 35, so it's a grievous injury, and he's going into recovery. And injury for Crut Junk Boy. Ooh, that's a memorable death. However, the fire did burn him, so nobody gets the bonus experience point, but it did memorably burn and sizzle away into a heap of ashen flesh. Income for the Steel Pit Stompers. Firstly, gunk tokens. I actually rolled in 1 extra die here, it should have only been 3d6, but that was a total of 140 credits. And the settlement, d6 times 10 for another 10 credits. Now Jews or gangers, and that'll provide them with another Juve. Pretty much just going to replace the one that they lost. Now they have a slag furnace for a d6 times 5, it's a further 10. And to check if we get another Juve, oh, and that 6 does it, so another Juve. And a total of 160 credits. Now income for the Burning Brand, starting with their gunk. Oh, and that's a pitiful 40 credits only. Now settlement for a further 60 credits, which makes up for the poor roll on the gunk. Now see if we get any Jews or gangers, and neither of these are gained. Now the Bone Shrine for 2d6 times 5, for a further 40, for a grand total of 140 credits. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed that Necromunda battle report. There are more on the way, and I hope you can join us for some of those. Until then, take it easy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.